I'm very much a big proponent of women getting their comeuppance, but in this case, well, we got to try to have a little bit more measured of a response and take note of what's at play right here, because this is some dystopian ass shit. Woman fired after company uses keystroke technology to monitor her work from home. Listen, I don't care if this bitch spent 7.5 hours a day browsing Facebook, posting on TikTok when she was on the clock. I don't care about any of that stuff. She should have been fired for that, just because you go on those terrible websites, you deserve to be destitute. But the fact that companies are, tracking your keystrokes. Yeah, that's some dystopian ass shit. Major insurance company used keystroke technology on an employee's work laptop to test whether she was working her designated hours, and it ended terribly for her. Yeah, what else are you also paying attention to with those keystroke trackers? Because that just kind of sounds like, some phishing software that we were told to pay attention to. Fair Work Commission has rejected an unfair dismissal application brought by former Insurance Australia Group consultant Suzie Cheikho. Okay. Finding that she was fired for a valid reason of misconduct. Yo, what the fuck? According to the Commission's published findings, Cheikho, was responsible for creating insurance documents, meeting regulatory timelines, and monitoring work-from-home compliance, among other significant roles. Ironically, her own work-from-home performance marked the end of an 18-year career with the company. 18, so they were just looking for ways to, get this bitch out of the company. But I would say clearly she was producing social media, because if she was working there for 18 years, and she got some filters on. That's 1,000% true. According to the FWC findings, Cheikho was fired on February 20th for missing deadlines and meetings, being absent and uncontactable, and failing to complete a task which caused the industry regulator to fine IAG. See, valid reasons to fire. I'm totally on board for kicking this bitch to the curb. But using the trackers, okay, that's where it gets creepy. Just think about your employer at work monitoring every single keystroke that you make online, making sure that you're being the good little worker drone that they're paying you as little as they can get away with. That, I don't like that at all. A month later, Cheikho claimed to the FWC, her employer had the premeditated plan to remove her from the business, and that she was targeted due to her mental health. See, I hate this bitch. I hate her to hell and back. Well, they fired me because of my mental health issues. No, it's probably because, you were trying to extend your work from home gimmick that you were trying, and you were just being lazy and, doing everything that you possibly could in order to avoid an honest day's work. I understand. According to the online findings, Cheikho received a formal warning in November 2022 about her output and was put on a performance improvement plan. It's like, you've worked here for 18 years and you can't get your shit together by now. Holy. She was subjected to a detailed review of cyber activity, which analyzed the number of times she physically pressed her keyboard on 49 working days from October to December. The review found that she did not work her registered hours for 44 days. This bitch lazy. Started late, 47 days, finished early on 29 days, and performed 0 hours of work on 4 days. Well, she tried. On the days she did log on, she had very low keystroke activity and recorded 0 strokes over 117 hours in October, 143 hours in November, and 60 hours in December. Well, it's holiday season. I need to take care of my kids, because God knows her husband. Spoilers, she probably doesn't have a husband. Let's keep it a buck. She had to pay attention to them, right? Averaged 54 strokes per hour over the duration of her surveillance, which showed she was not presenting for work and performing her work as required. In a formal meeting about the review, Cheikho said she did not believe for a minute the data was true. No, I totally believe that it's true, and the reason that I read out all of those numbers is because that's how detailed that this information, at least that they're putting out publicly, that they have about how they can monitor you. Like, I've worked a multitude of labor-intensive jobs, some sales jobs where, you go do cold calls specifically at businesses and all of that crap, and I wouldn't give up the experience for the world, because, well, you learn some very valuable skills along the way where you can strike up small talk with just about anybody. I was very good at my job, but it just, became untenable and mostly involved me being a Trump supporter in Canada and ended up getting me shit canned, but another story I've told multiple times on the channel, so I need not bore anybody with this recitation of previous events. It's coming up on 3 years at this point in time. Holy. Where I started to draw the line was when they wanted to put GPS trackers in the company vehicles. Well, it's their right, it's their vehicle, and if you aren't doing anything wrong, what's the problem with the trackers? It's like, no, I don't want you on my ass all the time. If you trust me enough to employ me and pay me, you can see my output, okay? You can see how many sales I'm bringing into the company. You can take a look at my book of business and see how many millions of dollars I'm putting through your company every month. But yeah, man, well, it was incredibly valid for this company to go ahead and turf this bitch for not doing her fucking job. The fact that we're getting it down to tracking keyboard presses, that's, yo, man, very rarely do you see such a bigger endorsement of self-employment, but she wouldn't be motivated enough to, make that endeavor profitable. In a formal meeting about the review, Cheikho said she did not believe for a minute that the data was true and showed no evidence that she'd be online and working when the report showed she hasn't. Yes, of course, women will just go ahead and bald-faced lie to you. I'd imagine she started to cry, 2 or 3 minutes into the meeting. Sometimes the workload is a bit slow, but I have never not worked. Well, there were 4 days, apparently, that she didn't. She told her managers, according to the FWC findings. I mean, I may go to shops from time to time, but it's not for the entire day. I need to take some time to consider this, and I'll put forward a response. In a written response, Cheikho said she looked at the data to seek an explanation for the missing hours, but really can't recall why or how it's that low. I just can't remember for all of those days that I didn't work that somehow coincided with me not being around. It's like, bitch, you had a fucking laptop. You could have, done a little bit of work when you were on the go, but I tried to go through emails and messages to see if I can explain it. Yeah, but you didn't write any emails or messages, so there were none to go through. I have been going through a lot of personal issues, which caused a decline in my mental health, and unfortunately, I believe that it affected my performance at work. No, you said there was no downturn in your performance. Come on now. You can't have it both ways. Cheikho said she always started on time, but had a few things going on due to an injury. That's just called being a woman. She claimed she would send a Teams message to advise managers that she had medical appointments every day of the week, Doing regular business hours, and would make up the time afterwards. Yeah, just off hour. All my work was off hours, okay? You didn't see it. That's why the tracker just wasn't set for the right times. She said she was confused and shocked at the data, doubted its accuracy, and said that she used other devices than her laptop to log in. Oh, when she had a systems issue. Yes, of course. That's why you probably had no recorded communications about, that laptop that you guys gave me to work at home from, it's not really working. Can I get a replacement, or can we get a tech out here to fix this stuff or anything like that? No. She just took it upon herself to use different pieces of equipment to do her job. Sure thing. According to the FWC ruling, Cheikho attended one Microsoft Teams meeting with her manager regarding her performance with the word fuck written across her hand. Yeah, this bitch was just looking to get fired to get some whatever Australian employment insurance payouts. Like, come on now. FWC Deputy President Thomas Roberts ruled the evidence showed Cheikho was not working as she was required to do during her designated work hours while monitored. He found Cheikho could not provide a credible explanation for the data to her employers or throughout the FWC proceedings. Now, Roberts wrote that while Cheikho said that she used her phone for certain tasks, her employer had shown the need for her to use a laptop to complete her duties. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a bunch of stuff when I post the video that I can do on a phone, but I don't know, maybe it's because I'm old or something like that I just don't like to type on a phone. I think that it's absolutely the least optimal way. I would much rather do it on a computer. So I don't know who somebody who's older than me can go ahead and, try to credibly use that excuse, but apparently it wasn't all that credible. The applicant was dismissed for a valid reason of misconduct, Roberts wrote. I have little doubt that the factors underlying the applicant's disconnection from the work were serious and real. Yeah, exactly. No, I got mental health problems. Oh, really? Why? I've just been feeling really down lately, and then with the pandemic, and then being locked up and all that, it just had a lot on my mind. It's like, okay, cool. They thought that solution would be working from home when you're further isolated. Yeah, that makes total sense. Situation was regrettable, given Cheikho's long period of satisfactory service. Yeah, exactly. The bitch got lazy when she got to stay at home all the time. Fucking surprise. Nonetheless, I'm satisfied with the dismissal of the applicant was not harsh, no, unjust, or unreasonable. The applicant's application is therefore dismissed. So yeah, she totally and justifiably deserved that absolute shellacking that she got from the government and from her employer. But again, underlying all of this stuff is the technological advancements as to how your employer is monitoring you and to make sure that you just stay in your pod for your allocated amount of time, that you don't speak up and you don't fight back because they are looking at your every single move. Is fucking creepy shit, man. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.